Hey guys, Mike Croft here, Money Coach Mike, and today I want to show you the trades that I'm setting up for next week. So what I'm gonna do two things. One, I want to show you this week how I've kind of doubled my money in the trades that I was in, and then I'm gonna get you set up for next week and show you some of the options that I'm looking to take here and make some money. So I shot a quick video in my hotel room because I was showing you guys basically some weeks like this week, and I did this last week. I don't do this every week, but there's weeks like this week and last week and really the week before. Right? We've been in a bull market. We've been in a strong bull market really since mid to end of April, and stocks have just been shooting up. So NVDA, Amazon, Meta until recently. This week Meta hasn't done great, but a lot of the market has just been amazing. What's happened is we'll put on these options. So we're selling puts, right? So basically, what's happening is if the market doesn't come down, we get paid premiums to sell these puts, which has been awesome. We've just been going up, 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 up. And what's happening is a lot of times midweek, whether sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes it's Thursday. I'll look at my contracts, and it's like they're almost at zero. And we still have a day or 2 days left in the market here. So what I've been doing is I've been selling them, I've been buying them back. So I've been getting rid of my puts and then putting on new ones for just a couple of days. And this week we've done more than double. Last week we did roughly a double. What's happening is I'm able to double the gains I've made for the week. Now, not double the gains in my account, but double the gains I made in my contracts. Selling puts, in my opinion, is one of the, but one of the more conservative ways you can make money in the stock market. And what I love about it is you've got money that's actually not in the market. We're not invested in anything. We're not invested in NVIDIA or, the Qs or Meta or any of these or Amazon. Like any of these companies we're selling puts for, we're actually not invested in them. The money just stays into my account. So it earns a couple points that way, earns a couple points of interest just sitting in my account. But what I do is I get paid contract premiums basically. For those that don't know it, what you're doing is you're basically entering into an agreement with someone else in the market saying, hey, if this stock hits this price, I'll buy it from you at this price. So for example, last week in NVIDIA, I believe it was like 155, 160-ish. And I went in on Monday and said, hey, I went in Monday afternoon and said, hey, I'll pick up like 900 shares of NVIDIA if it drops to 147, and people will pay me a premium to enter that contract, and that's what I make. So what's really cool is this week, after everything's said and done tomorrow, because tomorrow is when all my contracts will expire. I sold 9 today. I bought 9 today because I sold them earlier this week, made my premiums, went back in, sold 7 more today. And at the end of this week, I'll make roughly about 0.3% is what I'll make on this here. Now you might be like, wow, that's really small. Now this is about a $38,000 account. So it's a small account. You're like, wow, that might be small. But if we do this over 52 weeks, and by the way, point three, this is a weaker week is the way I put it here. It's a bit of a smaller week. 2 weeks ago, I was making 1%, 1.5%. It's just the ebb and flow of options. Some weeks will make more than others. But at 0.3%, if I do that every single week for the year, 52 weeks a year, that's 15.6% rate of return. I've never put money into the market. Yeah, I'm making 15.6% on my money. I'm doing better than most people who invest their money into the market. Most people are making 4, 5, 6. If you're in a S&P 500, maybe you're making 10, 15% on average over the long term. I'm making 15%, and my money never enters the market, which is it's kind of cool, right? Like it's literally you got money in a savings account earning you 15.6%. This is very conservative. We could go way higher than this. We could go 25, 30. We could go 50% if we wanted to get a little bit more. I don't want to use the word risky, but we want to get a little bit more closer to the money. I'm going super conservative. And 15.6%. That doesn't include any of the growth that my money makes being invested. That just includes the options, the spreads that we're putting on there. And so pretty cool. 15.6%, I make a bigger return than most people make being invested and having to take on that risk of the market. So what I'm gonna do, guys, let me show you this video here of how I basically got out of one of my put options that I put on Monday and then re-entered another one here to basically double my money that I'm gonna make this week. All right, friends, family, you're going to see multiple videos today of this because usually I shoot this video after the market's closed, but I want to show you what I mean by what I did last week. And since we're live in the markets, I'm actually going to execute it live right now. And then I'll attach it to my other video where I get prepped for next week in terms of what options or what puts I'm going to sell here. So let me just hop in and I'm going to show you my individual account. Again, this is where I've got about 30,000. I mean, it's grown a bit higher than that. It's grown to 38 by now. I've had this for a couple months. So here's my account here. We're up 66 bucks for the week. This wasn't a great week for options. I took 9 NVDA puts at 147. Got pretty far out. NVIDIA just continues to blast off. They're at like 170 today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close my positions. I'm going to walk away with like, let's find here. Let me just hit close. What are we selling at? Yeah, 2 cents. Boom, hit submit. I'm going to walk away with 59 bucks after fees and all that. Made 10 bucks today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and I'm going to put another one on for today and tomorrow to hopefully make another 60, maybe 100 bucks here. So let me hop over to NVIDIA. And let's see here. NVIDIA, July 18th. I'm looking for a put. We're currently at like 175-ish, right around there. We're kind of bouncing around this. If I go down to even 165, I'm going to make about 10 cents, 11 cents per contract. And I'm actually okay with that. Remember, this is a small account. This isn't a huge account here. So I got to sell those puts. And let me just do some quick math here. Let's see. I'm going to put my calculator. And we are going to do, let's see here. We got about 127. How much actually, let me just double check how much I actually have here. If I go to account window, I've got about, 127. Okay. 127 divided by 165, divided by 100. I could buy, 7. I'm going to try and do 8. Sometimes it does allow me to do 8. So we're going to sell. I said buy, but I meant sell. I'm going to try and do 8. At 11 cents. Will it let me execute that? No, it says I got to do 7. Okay. Which I knew. Sometimes I try and push it. Sometimes they let us. So I'm going to have to hit 7. Okay. And that's going to give me another 80 bucks. Again, this is a small account, right? And we're going really conservative. We could have got a lot closer to the money, but here, 2 days left. Markets are supposed to turn over a little bit here. I thought, why not more than double my money by closing out today, Thursday morning, entering back in today from today till tomorrow, and then on Monday starting a new position. And I'll go through that video tonight of which ones I'm going to look at until Monday next week. But that's how I double my money. So I didn't do much this week. Not a lot of volatility this week. So options work well when there's volatility, or this style of investing works well in volatility. There just wasn't a lot this week. So anyways, we'll walk this week a $30,000 or $38,000 account. We'll make, let's see here, 60, let's call it 59 plus, we'll walk away. Average price was 10 cents. So that was about 70 bucks, right? That's 129 for the week. Divide that by 38,000 because that's what I have in there times 100. That's a 0.3%. So it's not even a 1% gain. But if you do that for 52 weeks in a row, that's 17%, almost 18% gain on your money without having to put it into the market. That's the crazy part about all this is none of that money is actually being used. None of that money is actually being used. It's not invested in anything. It's sitting in my account collecting a little bit of interest, and then it's sitting there to be executed if I have to actually buy the stock. And by the way, I wouldn't mind owning NVIDIA at 165, especially if they're at 175 right now. I'll take a $10 discount. Probably not going to happen. But think about that. If you had a $100,000 account, at 17%, that's $17,000 a year. If you had a $1 million account, that's $170,000 a year, if I'm doing that math right. So this is how you can scale up. Now, this is a very small account that I use here. I've got a couple other ones that have more money, and I'll show you those tonight when I go and do my reset for next week here and to get that video ready. But that's how you can make a little bit of cash on the side, better than a savings account, right? Better than uh, dividends. Most dividend accounts are 2, 1, 2, 3, 0.5%. Apple pays you like not even 0.5%. Home Depot, I think, is 2.3, or depending, around that 2%. Most dividends don't even pay you that type of returns, and that's how you can get that there on a small account. All right, we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you tonight. Awesome, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed that video. So that's how I'm doing that. I've done that for a couple weeks in a row now. So again, depending on how close to the money I get, obviously you can make a lot more. But again, I'm just going super conservative with this. I don't need to like get risk a whole bunch to make it happen. And that's a small account, 38. Uh, Started like 36. Now it's at 38, 36 a couple, probably about 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. Now it's at 38. So just think about if you had a $40,000 account or an 80,000 or 100,000, you could just do the math and figure out how much you can make in passive income for the week. So for example, let's do $100,000 account. 689 per week on $100,000 account is probably what you're going to make per week. So that's six. Let's call it $600, 12, it's $2,400 a month on $100,000 account at roughly that 0.3% ish throughout the year. So not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so what am I going to do this week? What am I looking at? Well, I might just put on another NVIDIA. I'm going to be honest, man. NVIDIA is on fire right now. And I might just run another NVIDIA trade. Here they are right here. They are super hot right now. I've got a nice leap option on them as well. That's just, awesome. What's cool about leap options is you can do the wheel strategy. So you can have the leap option and then sell calls against leap option. I'm not going to share that today. Just for the sake of the video here, I want to keep this short and sweet. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about putting another, selling some more puts against my NVIDIA for next week. So right now, NVIDIA's it's Thursday, 172. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe they'll hit 175 or 180. Who knows? They are just on fire. I do think it's time for them to come down a little bit. Number one, the RSI is pretty hot. We're not officially an oversold category yet, but I mean, we're so close to getting there. Now, NVIDIA does have a tendency, it can go hot for a while. And once it goes hot, it can continue to still go up, which is pretty cool. One of the two things that concern me, though, is, or not really concern me, but two things I'm watching are one, the last time NVIDIA was oversold this much to where they are today is a bit of a downtrend. And here they are. This is where last time they were oversold, and this is where they are today. Um, Not that it needs to happen. Oops, I see what I've done there. Not that it needs to happen. There we go. That's what I want. But generally, if NVIDIA is going to pop like this and get really hot again, I do want to see the RSI kind of match it, and it hasn't yet. So I kind of just wonder if maybe we got a little pullback coming here. Nothing crazy. I don't think Nvidia is going to like do a 40% drop, but I do wonder if they're going to pull back a little bit, which means I am going to be a little bit more conservative in my approach next week. A good area of resistance is right here. This is the all-time. This is the double top they hit before they bounce, and now that they're above it, coming down to that would be about 150. Now that is kind of hot, and they do move on the weekly about 12, let's call it $13 is what you can expect in NVIDIA to move throughout the week. And even this week, they're up, let's see, 165 to 172. They're up, let me just double check that. Yeah, they're only up $7 this week, and they tend to move about 12. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now, we don't know what direction they're going to move. That doesn't tell us what direction. It does say on average, expect about a $12 move in any given week. So, with that being said, here, let's go check out some of the just some of the puts or that we can sell here. So let's hop over to the screen here. Okay, and we're looking at July. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Let me go over to NVIDIA. Okay, so July 18th is tomorrow. You already saw the video of what I chose for that to make some premiums on there. So we'll close that. We're looking at the July 25th now. And what I'm looking to do is really sell some puts. So if we end around 175 and NVIDIA on averages moves about 12, $13 a week, that'd be 165. 162 would probably be a safe zone potentially. Maybe a little bit low if you want to be a little bit more conservative. The 160s would be a good one to put there. And let me just throw that over here. Okay, so 160s. And if I do some simple math, Again, depending on the account size you have, this one has about $1 million of leverage. It doesn't have $1 million of cash sitting there, but about $1 million. Divide that by 160. Divide that by 100 tells me how many puts I can sell. So 62 I can sell puts, and at the 160s, I'm making, as if I sell them today, 41 cents. Come Monday, that will be dropped quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Your numbers may vary if you get in on Monday versus Tuesday versus Wednesday, that number will change the 41 cents there. But if we were to get in now at 41 cents turns into 41 bucks per contract. So 41, that's $2,562 next week. Okay. Yeah, that's just basically 40 bucks because you're getting paid basically, or 41, you're getting paid $41 per contract. I'm able to buy 62. I believe that was 62. Let me just double check. Yeah, 62 contracts times 41. Yeah, 2,542 is what I'll make next week on the NVDA. Let me just delete that. It's not an NVIDIA call. I want an NVIDIA put. Sometimes you got to be careful. The wrong thing gets dragged over. There we go. That's the one NVIDIA put. Now, I am expecting NVIDIA to drop next week, which probably means I'm going to be I'll probably potentially be in the red a little bit throughout the week. And here's what that looks like. Let me show you what this looks like on another one I have. It kind of looks like this. I've got a QQQ. I'm doing a poor man's call here where I've got a QQQ in the money leap option. So it expires in 335 days. And every week I put on a QQQ, I sell a call. Basically, just a way for me to make some extra money while my leap goes up. But here's an example of if the stock market continues to rise, or if you're selling a put go down, it can show that you're in the red. You actually aren't making money. And I sold it at 25. And now if I want to buy it back, and that's how I get out of this, by the way, you got to buy it back to get out of it. And I know that might be a little confusing language wise, but when I coach people, I show them, I go through the lingo and what that means and I clarify that. But for the sake of the video, I'm just moving really fast here. Basically, if I wanted to get out of this tomorrow, I would pay 15 bucks. Not a big deal, but it can go up more. It can go up 30, it can go up 300, it can go up 500 bucks. But here's the cool part. Because you're doing, this is what we call a wheel strategy. You own the underlying stock or option. Yes, I lost $12 on this today. It's 12 bucks in the red, but I also made $297. Right? That's what's cool about the wheel strategies. Even if you get in and it doesn't go the way you wanted to, if you own the underlying stock, generally the underlying stock is going to push up really nicely and cover the difference between what you're going to lose in selling puts or selling calls and what you're going to make in owning the underlying stock. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that's a bit of a more advanced strategy there, but that's why I like these strategies. I'm not too worried about them. And when I own the underlying stock, if my option loses, I'm still making a lot of money on the stock, and that's really covering the difference there. Now my goal is not to lose. I don't get into lose, but sometimes you go into the red. And to be honest, this will probably be in the green tomorrow because QQQ's got to go to 565. Or it's got to close above 565 tomorrow for me to lose on this one, and I don't think it will. So tomorrow afternoon, when the market closes at 4 o'clock, this will probably be in the green, and I'll have made not much, 25 bucks on it. I got into this later this week. That's why it's a little lower than normal. Anyways, okay, so that's my strategy. NVIDIA put. If we get in tomorrow, we'll be by next Friday, 2,560 or 50-ish dollars. If that's too risky, if you think the 160 is too risky, you can go further out. We can go to 155, 152. 150 is super conservative. I mean, NVIDIA would have to drop $25 in a week. And can it happen? Absolutely, it can happen. Will it happen? I don't think so. But let's just say you do that. Maybe you're brand new at this, right? And you're like, I want to be so conservative, it's like, take me to church or something. Okay, so using the same formula, $1 million of leverage, that's what I'm using, divided by 150, which is the stock price you'd have to buy it if it comes down below 150. Okay, allows me to buy 66 shares, or sorry, 66 option, lets me to sell. So I keep saying buy, but allows me to sell 66 option contracts. I make about 14 cents as of Friday, which would be about $924 by the end of next Friday. So if I buy it tomorrow and by next Friday, the stock does not hit 150 or below, this is NVIDIA we're talking about, you will make about $924. Okay, not bad. Pretty cool, right? That's almost $1,000. I mean, if you're Canadian and you're watching this, that is 1,000. It's over $1,000 Canadian for you. And the cool part is you don't have to have $1 million in there to do this. You use margin to make it happen. You can only do this in a margin account. And so realistically, you probably got 250, 300,000 of your capital in there. The rest is margin. But again, we're not investing anything, right? So the money just sits there. It actually doesn't get used. But that's what I'm putting on next week. So anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 bucks is what I'm expecting to make next week in this strategy. Listen, if you want to learn how to do this and make this work for you, like I said, you've heard me say this a bunch of times. This is better than rental income, better than managing a rental property. This is better than probably a side hustle, side gig, whatever you're trying to figure out there. There's so many people selling side hustle gigs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just find most of them don't make that much money. Like literally, we're 15 minutes into this. I've sat here for 15 minutes. I'm going to put this on tomorrow. It takes me a minute to put it on, and that's it for the week. Making anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 for 15 minutes of work. Come on. There's not a side hustle doing that right now, right? So it's better than side hustles in my opinion here, and it's potentially better than long-term investing because again, you're making anywhere from 15, 20, sometimes 25% returns year over year. You're doing better than the overall stock market. You're doing better than the average investor. You're doing way better than the average than what the average financial advisor will do for you. So this is a cool strategy. Is it the only strategy I do? No. But it's one that I love to do to make some extra money on the side while all my other investments grow and do their thing. All right, guys, so that's it for this week. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.